Men in general do not negotiate their standards.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. Do you get instances where you feel you have to downgrade your price to get the same job that a male counterpart wouldn't necessarily have to,
Oh, yeah, at one point, I thought maybe there was one instant, I thought maybe if I could lower my prices,
Yeah.
it could take me as, far. And then I found out it's not about, where to get there fast, but your value. But at this point, you can see women coming up, doing their own thing in tech, which is quite exciting,
Yeah,
and
it
really,
is.
fantastic. Yeah, people are doing really fantastic job. Yeah.
Was it a long relationship?
It wasn't long. By there, I would just like to be frank. It wasn't long, but I just found myself pregnant.
How did he disappear? Did he just stop picking your calls
Yeah,
one day?
he stopped picking my calls.
Oh my God. Was this before or after you gave birth?
After I gave birth.
Wow.
After, somebody, he showed interest by, asking how we were doing.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then just somebody, poof. Nitasema aje, there was one girl who said nilirukwa kiyesu kipetero. Ama nitasema aje.
He denied you 3 times. A very, very lovely afternoon from us here at Her 3 Cents podcast, from the city under the sun, the heartbeat of East Africa and the pride of Africa. This is Her 3 Cents podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Yonga, and I'm a lover of all things women. Today, I am so excited because, again, I'm a lover of all things women. We have our first guest on this episode, and obviously, she is a woman.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm just going to quickly allow you to introduce yourself and tell us your name.
Okay, my name is Sonia Opone. I'm the founder of Frabs Digital Marketing. Yeah, so I'm into digital marketing, AI, and I'm a mom of one.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm also a mom.
Yeah,
We are powerhouses.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your professional background.
My professional background, I began back way in college. Yeah. I was actually doing IT. Yeah. So I just had an idea. Actually, Frabs came to a business idea that we started as 3 friends back then. It was called Frabby. Yeah, but at the same time, I put it in a halt, but because I was still learning, I was still in college. It was just a dream, Yeah, so after that, I had a child. So I made a little comeback after I had a child. I did some leadership program. So that's how I ended up, founding Frabs. Yeah.
Okay. So you were nominated last year for the NABLA Awards Young Entrepreneur of the Year. I want to know, what has been your experience as a woman in the business world, and not just in the business world? You're a software engineer.
Yeah.
So in a male-dominated space, essentially, what has been the experience?
It has been quite not that easy, but at the same time easy, but you just get the balance. And, at this time, like women in tech, we have been given a wide variety and range, to get it into tech, to do data science, to venture into other things in tech. It is quite a big opportunity for women right now, and in these times, in general, So it was mostly, the tech world was mostly at a point a male-dominated field, but at this point, you can see women coming up, doing their own thing in tech, which is quite exciting, and really, fantastic. Yeah, people are doing really fantastic job. Yeah.
Do you ever find instances of inequality in the tech space?
Yeah, somehow I feel that way. Yeah, somehow
You feel underestimated?
yeah, you feel underestimated,
Yeah.
Well, actually, when you maybe meet other people that have been in those fields for quite a long time and they're male dominated, it's quite challenging. But at the end of the day, you have to prove yourself and what you're capable of doing as a woman,
Yeah.
So you just, you ignore that and do what you can do, as a woman, and do your best. Yeah.
Do you get, I'm curious to know, is there a difference between what girls in the tech space are paid and what men in their male counterparts are paid? Do you get instances where you feel you have to downgrade your price to get the same job that a male counterpart wouldn't necessarily have to, do male counterparts quote higher prices?
Oh, at one point, I thought maybe there was one instant, I thought maybe if I could lower my prices,
Yeah.
it could take me as, far. And then I found out it's not about, where to get there fast, but your value,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to look at if, you're a male, but maybe at the same point as a woman, you may feel that way. But if you get to know your value, you get the same equal opportunity, the same equity as the male counterpart, Yeah. So if you show your value, you get the same, pricing, So that was the first mistake that I did. And, I rectified it and I was like, man.
I can understand.
Yeah.
I can understand. I've had the same temptations in my whenever I'm in business and I feel that maybe I should just lower my prices a bit. Maybe customers are going to stream in. Maybe it's going to be easier. But you find that men in general do not negotiate their standards.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. Do you think it has anything to do with our cultural background as women, where we're taught to be apologetic almost for or humble about our strengths, our creative capabilities, where you have to, even self-advocacy is very, very difficult for women.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have to, you come out and you say, I am capable of doing this job. This is my value. Does it have anything to do with the cultural background? Because I understand that you're half caste, Nigeria, Kenya, and I know Nigeria is also a very male-dominated culture where a woman is taught to tone down.
Yeah. I feel like now the culture, and I also feel like the environment, how have you grown? How have you been groomed, So those are some of the factors, Even me as myself, I've put myself in those situations of, I have to squeeze myself and put myself at a corner,
shrink yourself.
You shrink yourself, when you go somewhere, maybe at a meeting, you have to play safe, you don't have to take as much risk as other people. And then you find out, I can, stand up and speak, at the same time, and you don't let your guard down, at the same time. So I feel like, culture, and where we come from as a person, it really, contributes to that, I feel,
And you are an ambitious young woman. I mean, if you weren't, you wouldn't have been nominated, which is a very, very impressive achievement. So I want to weigh in on how ambition for a woman can often be detrimental, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, where ambitious women are deemed as intimidating. And so you're taught that if you're too ambitious, men are going to run away from you. What has been your experience?
No, what I would like to say, like, now, for me, I feel like the choices you make matters, and also, there are other men who feel that way, and there are other men who embrace the ambitious self of a woman. There are men who really like that, and there are other male counterparts, they don't like that, at the same time. So you have to stand up and know where you position yourself as a woman, and don't let anyone put you down because you're so ambitious. Don't let your dreams be put aside because of certain circumstances that you don't have to do it. At the same time, you really need to put yourself out there. You really need to know your rights, the things that you are going for, your goals. At the same time, and as an individual, maybe if you have kids, as a woman, you really need to stand up for yourself. And mostly if you don't have maybe a male supporter in your life, you have to stand up and guard yourself into very many things. So as an ambitious woman, you have to look at a lot of disadvantages and risks that you need to take and to where you need to go as a person.
So you have to do a lot of self-defining where because we've seen in previous generations where women have been conditioned to draw their identities from men. And so when you are outside of the orbit of a man, you feel a bit lost. You're not sure who you should be, how you should act. So give me a little bit of context. How has motherhood been for you?
It's been great. With the support from my family. It's been easy. Even if you don't have anyone to support you at a point in your life, at least, I had my family who got my back, and supported me and, helped me through even in my business, they came through a lot. So, I think that played a huge role. So I know maybe others, it might be hard, but, I tell people, just stand there, don't give up. You just take a look at your child and take another one step forward, and think about your child and where you want to go, ask for help when need be. Don't stay in silence, we have had people having mental issues too, and people are going through a lot of things at this point. And this time, there's a lot of things going on, So I hope people won't stay silent. As a mother, as a single woman, maybe you don't have anyone to support you. Just speak up. And nowadays we have social media. People will listen to you here. If no one supports you, people will come and support you. We are here.
That is true. That is true.
So it has been it's easy, but at the same time, I felt at one point, even me, it was hard, You think a lot about a lot of things, and then maybe you don't have a place where you can a backup, at that time, financial situations, how is your kid going to grow up? There's some people who don't have that family to support them.
That is quite true. What is the biggest challenge in the relationship that you had?
My biggest challenge with the relationship I had with the father of my child?
Yes.
Oh, okay. At one point, I thought maybe he will be there. My family tried to communicate, find how we can help each other, even if he wouldn't be in the picture, but support, the child, and maybe emotional support. So we did get it, when he left, so you ask yourself a lot of questions. Why this person just disappeared on a beautiful child,
Was it a long relationship?
It wasn't long. By there, I would just like to be frank. It wasn't long, but I just found myself pregnant, But at first, he was he will support, and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, someone disappears. It's quite shocking. And you're like, hey?
How did he disappear? Did he just stop picking your calls one day?
He stopped picking my calls.
Oh my God. Was this before or after you gave birth?
After I gave birth.
Wow.
After, somebody, he showed interest by, asking how we were doing
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then just somebody, poof. Nitasema aje, like that there was one girl who said nilirukwa kiyesu kipetero, ama nitasema aje.
He denied you 3 times.
He denied me 3 times.
How long had you known him before, you found out you were pregnant?
I think like about 6 months. It wasn't long. And then, he traveled. And then when he came back, I stayed for quite a long time because I was still confused when I was pregnant. So and then I just contacted him like, I'm pregnant, already my family knows. So, now like my family contacted him, told him, she's pregnant, can you be available and stuff like that. Yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So we like, okay, he didn't even support delivery. Wacha tu niseme kweli, I won't lie.
It's all right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we are all humans, Maybe we might be not ready about some things in life, Though I don't support men who, neglect their children and assume that that's and I know there are other factors. Maybe some young women maybe can pin a man
down
with pregnancy, and stuff, and maybe people can,
But I say, even if a woman is pinning you down with pregnancy, you accepted to be pinned down, didn't you?
Yeah, it's your responsibility. Or maybe
because it takes 2 to tango.
Yeah, take 2 to tangle, But at the same time, you need to take care of your kids. And then I feel like there's a need to, we need to have a law, about men who, go, they run away from these kids, Yeah, they need to take responsibility. What is the government doing about it? Some women have really been neglected, with these kids, they are really paying for it, Yeah, they really need the support and help. Yeah.
There's a huge gap in terms of
there's a huge gap,
enforcing responsibility, paternal responsibility, because as you've said, a lot of men just up and leave, and they do not contribute financially, emotionally towards the raising of this child. In fact, most children have been raised by single mothers, and it amazes me because there's so much stigma around single motherhood.
Oh yeah.
But you're the parent that stayed, and you despite the odds, a child is very expensive to raise.
Yeah, true. True.
So let's try to in your own words, when you look at the stigmatization of single moms, when we look at the justification that men offer, they say this girl was irresponsible. That's the first thing they say. She's irresponsible, that's why she must have gotten pregnant, or the man could not stay with her, there's a reason why, and it must be, the blame must fall on the lady again, maybe. And thirdly, when you have, now you're moving on with your life and you want to date again, or you want to get married again, and other men are like the owner of the well. I don't know if you've ever heard of that phrase, where they say, oh, the owner of the well does not wait. So they have this perception that down the line, the baby daddy will come back and you're going to have something to do with the baby daddy. In your own words, let's try to dismantle some of those perspectives. What do you think?
I think, we get a lot of stigmatization. But I feel like it's quite unfair to pin it on just one side, like we be just one-sided of one person about the situation. It's so unfair, I mean, we don't know the story between you two and how it started, and there are a lot of things. Maybe you disagreed with this person, and maybe one day this person will come out and say, she's the problem, and they're like, I'm not the problem. But at the same time, we have to look at, the choices that we made, both of us, that made us be in that situation, you as the person that made me pregnant. What are the factors? Why did it not work out? But at the same time, there's a kid involved. You know? Yeah. So like these things are like it's not fair to like pin it down to one side.
On one party.
Yeah, we need to really look into what's going on.
And beyond that, even if the relationship didn't work out, because like you said, it's unfair to pin the blame on one party. But beyond that, beyond he said, she said, he did, she did, you have a responsibility that does not know who said what or who did what.
Or who did what.
You know, the child is very innocent, but they try to really, I've had my experiences myself with the father of my kids where it was so chaotic, even trying to co-parent and trying to police him into, you know, committing to responsibility. And that thing would always come up where the blame is shifted on you. You are the reason why we're in this situation in the first place. But you're like, okay, now that we're in this situation, how can we move forward? And was there any form of abuse, verbal, emotional?
Not that much, because we are not that, you know.
You had not known him long.
No, not long. Yeah, we just had one fight about why are you not coming to see your child and stuff like that. And he told me, like, if you want, you can just stay with your family, you see. So, like, I feel like there's a lot, you know, for me, you know, like at the same time, you'll ask yourself a lot of questions, but at the same time, you need to move forward and do other things as a woman, you know.
True.
Yeah, you cannot just stick in one position and be like, oh my God, now he's not coming back, you know.
But a lot of single mothers stay at that point where they're very bitter and they cannot seem to move on from what happened. Why do you think that is?
You know, like now it depends now on an individual character, you know, at the same time, you know, there are other people who like way need to know and keep, you know, the anger, and it takes them quite a lot of, you know, time and, you know, work, you know, to move on from that position, from that place, you know. And, you know, many of us, when it comes to PR culture, and some of us, we have ignored the issue of mental illnesses, peer, like, you don't know what people are suffering from. So somebody anaweza eka hiyo bitterness akufuate, maybe hata sahau
10-20 years.
10-20 years.
It doesn't change.
They don't change. Like, wanaieka, because, you know, it's painful for them. They cannot move on. They can imagine, you know, how they suffered to maybe raise this kid, you know, and do other stuff. So I would like to say, it depends on someone's character and, you know, emotions, you know, at the same time. And peer, like, social perspective, you know, and peer religion.
How did you move on from your own relationship?
It took me time. Family also contributed, you know, they talked to me, you know. They, you know, if you have a supportive family, you know, they tell you, we'll support you, do not worry, you're not alone. So if you find people talking to you and, you know, give you an advice, we can help you, you're not alone, you know.
When you're surrounded by a community, a village.
And love. If you have love around, you know, family and people and friends, they will really help you. Me, I had even friends who really helped me at that point. So I think those are the things, you know.
So let's talk a little bit about the current situation in Kenya, where we've seen a lot of femicide cases on the rise. Young women, especially young women, because I see the statistics and it is very troubling that we have many, many women under the age of 29, mostly between the age of 18 and 25. And they're killed by intimate partners, their boyfriends, their husbands. How does it feel like for you living right now in this time as a Kenyan woman, as a young Kenyan woman? and knowing that there are systems in place that do not regard your safety, knowing that because we've seen how these cases are handled with a certain callousness. We have cases every week and they've become too many to remember even. And the investigations lag. They take an average of 4 years, for example, to reach judgment. Some even take up to 7 years.
Yeah, even some lifetime.
For perpetrators to get convicted and receive a sentence. And even then, the other day we saw the government pardon some criminals who had some very, very serious and very troubling past.
Yeah, that shows that we have a really broken system as a country.
That does not put into account the safety of a woman. So in what measures can we take as young women, for example? And let me put it like this, because it's a two-pronged question that I want to ask. Because cyber stalking is a very, very huge part.
Yeah, and we don't have laws.
What happens to, because I remember a certain case of a girl who was killed, I think in 2024. And we also have the case of Rita Waeni, who found someone on Instagram. They were texting and they met at an Airbnb, and then the next day her body is found dismembered.
Yeah.
What role does technology play, and how dangerous is unregulated interactions on online? Because you don't know who you're talking to on the other side of the screen. What is the danger of such an unregulated system in terms of playing a key role in essentially propagating these cases? What gaps are there that we are missing, that these perpetrators, take advantage of, and it makes them feel safe to use technology in that way?
Yeah. First of all, there's a lot to be done when it comes to social media and in terms of regulating some stuff when it comes to stalking, and identifying individuals. And, there's some things that maybe we might not be there.
Yeah.
But I hope our government will take into consideration and what it can be done, to maybe take a look at these cases, most especially those who maybe find individuals on social media and lure them into, getting into some relationships. And some of these cases that have been recorded through social media and how it began and stuff like that, and what laws to be set up on stalking, because we don't have that.
Yeah, we do not have.
Other countries have that. Stalking is a big,
And let's talk about that, because as far as I'm concerned, for example, our constitution, the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act of 2015, classifies stalking and harassment under domestic violence, but they are not standalone crimes.
Oh, yeah.
They are elements of emotional abuse, in fact. They are placed in the same class as emotional abuse, but there is no crime that is called harassment, and there is no crime that is called stalking. And so for women, do you think there has been a lot of conversation about having femicide as a standalone crime? And when I see how other nations deal with it, harassment is a standalone crime as well, especially harassment against a young woman.
Yeah.
Stalking is a standalone crime. And I at first I thought it was a lack of infrastructure, and I will postulate this question to you. Do you think it's a lack of infrastructure? Because when we had the demonstrations in June 2024, we saw a huge role a certain telecommunications company played in narrowing locations down, where young people were arrested, their locations were triangulated, and the police swung into action and they were arrested, and some of them have been disappeared and we've never seen them. Yeah. But we see a very a lag when it comes to now femicide cases, where it takes so much time for the police to identify and track these perpetrators? Is it really a lack of infrastructure?
It's lack of infrastructure. And then we are in a country whereby we love to assume things. We love to be comfortable for quite a long time. And then when something happens, that's when we react. And then it has been something that has been going on for quite a long time. And then when we start to like realize, oh, it's been there. Now we need to take action. And then we find ourselves, even our women representatives have not talked about it. It's quite very devastating. You are a woman leader. You need to tell us what's your plan concerning this. And you're quiet. And you're concerned into other things. You're saying this is a problem. It's quite shameful, you know. Yeah, there need to be laws for these cases. At this time, women are the ones at a really bad stage when it comes even to, you know, children being stolen. You see, women are the ones coming in, you know. It's quite embarrassing tragedy, you know. It's really not great.
Yeah, you know? Because I believe that technology can play a very, very huge role, both in the endangerment and the safety of young women. But we don't ever see, like you have brought up a very, very important point where we see our female leadership. I'm about to get very angry because I remember a certain woman rep I saw online, and she was, you know, dancing to some very popular song.
Like, we chose you to talk on our behalf. And then you're
that
playing
is not
games.
happening.
And it's not playing
happening.
Games. You should be ashamed of yourself.
In fact, the same leader, allegedly, the nominated senator Karen Nyamu, one time a grade 10 pupil was brought to the House of Senate. I don't know if you remember that incident. And she made some very sexualized remark about it.
Really sad.
And there were no consequences. Heads did not roll. She was not asked to resign. Do you think female leadership has been downgraded down to, because I have this sense where the leadership, the political class has allowed women leadership on certain conditions.
Yeah.
Where you do not necessarily intrude or make some major changes. You're just there to satisfy the gender rule.
Yeah, maybe. At the same time, I feel like even when it comes to leadership in Kenya, it's like what should I say? When you want to be a leader, there's certain traits you have to have. But as a country, we have ignored, you know, because of certain, you know, for years we have had a broken system. So like we tend to more lean on when what people are, you know, portraying themselves at. We don't look at the background. We don't look at certain things with the track record. You know, who is this person, and then have they really, you know,
and where can they really do their job?
The job. Where they were, did they really, you know, do this and that to come and tell us, oh, you know, I can do this for you guys and stuff like that. But when you are into the office, you forget, you know, you forget your role as a leader, you know, of what you're supposed to do. And then you're just there like, take what you can and move. That's how our leadership, that's the attitude that we have given our leadership, you know. Let me just go into the office, pick what I can and move. We forget about the people, the people's needs, you know. Corruption is quite, in this country,
it's a problem.
So these women, they don't regard anything for us. So when they get there, they forget their work. They are given other roles, but not to support the common wananchi. I'm just sorry to say that.
So let's talk a little bit about how individually we can safeguard ourselves as young women, especially on internet interactions, now that there's not much response from the government. And it's something that angers me, because it seems to flow from the top down. We've had nothing from the office of the First Lady concerning femicide and pedicide cases happening and the kidnapping and abduction of children. We've had nothing from the gender office. In fact, the lady, and she is a lady, made some remarks when she was being interrogated about femicide before Parliament as she was being nominated, and she was asked, what do you think is the problem? And she said that these girls are looking for money, and that was her whole summation.
So, okay, even if they are looking for money, why are they looking for money? Because the economy is bad. It's
that
simple.
was her summation, which was still also very ignorant, because femicide not only covers young women who are in a relationship, but also covers young girls who get raped and killed. We've seen a grade 10 pupil who was found in a maize farm, strangled, raped and strangled. We saw the case of Njeri, who was a 9-year-old girl raped by her uncle and killed and buried under his house. So it was a very ignorant summation. We've had nothing from various women leaders who are always on our screens for all the wrong reasons. But that aside, and back to the role technology plays, when I'm on Facebook, and there's a lot of male attention there, obviously, of course, or I'm on Instagram, or I'm on TikTok. Let's first clean house with ourselves. This sexualized culture on TikTok, where we have some very, very, how do I put it? Provocative stuff happening over there. We do not want to blame and postulate the way people postulate when someone is raped and they start asking what was she wearing. But there's a culture that has allowed that, and there's a systemic objectification of women, where we see even in advertising of businesses, someone is advertising shoes, but they're dancing for us.
True.
And that's objectification of women in media spaces. Someone can get obsessed with you online and start stalking you online and find his way to your residence, or, start stalking you on the road. How can we safeguard ourselves? How can we know? Someone has approached me online, they look respectable, because again, social media, I feel that people can really deceive you.
Yeah, true.
Especially now we're in the age of AI, so you can generate your photos.
You can look good.
You can look good. So you meet this person, their profile picture is looking very respectable, and you're like, okay, I can entertain a conversation. They ask you to meet them for tea, and they have other motives. In the mind of a girl, what are some safety measures she should take if she's considering taking the interaction offline?
No, okay. For me, I feel that we are in a generation that culture has really changed. At some point, our mothers, our there's a way they were raised. They were raised to tone down. Dress well.
Dress modestly.
Even if it's short, here is modest. They were like proper in some way. At the same time, even me, I don't want to blame the person who is provocative, because I don't know how they were raised, their home, what they were told, or maybe the situation they're in, they have made them be.
But do you believe that it plays a role in essentially, because when a woman is objectified, her value is
because like as a man, I would be like, me, there are men who can control themselves. They just, whatever is passing, they will look at it, and they'll be, hey, I need to look up at this girl, check it out, and you don't know who he is, what are their motives, the people who have mental issues, sociopath, psychopaths,
and it's not written on someone's forehead, so you wouldn't know.
Written. PTSD, bipolar, you don't know.
Narcissism,
you're just like, umepata tu, like someone is so a gentleman, you don't know mtu ako aje, and then one day someone sleeps with you, akishamaliza, he kills you for fun, and you're like, Yeah, what's going on? And then the society will be like, she
Yeah.
was for money.
She was looking
Did
for
you
money.
look at her, how she's dressing? You know, sasa, like, people hawata kutetea because the society have already judged you. Yeah. So some of the things, you know, we cannot, it's such a complicated and, you know, we are in a really fucked up society. We really need to, like, think of also morals and, you know, also peer, like, these things happening, peer, there is beliefs.
Yeah.
There are people killing for, we don't know,
Ritualistic means.
Yeah, ritualistic means. The children being kidnapped, maybe it's for ritualistic things, money, and there are people who are so powerful that they're doing these things. We don't know. So we need to find a way to stop this, even though it's going to be hard or take a long time, but we need to find a way. Yeah. So that's what I can say.
What balance can we strike? Back to the issue of the objectification of women, because it seems like a chicken and egg situation where we found ourselves in a society that leans towards objectifying women, and because people who dance on TikTok for those products and all that find that it is easier to do that. It is easier to draw customers from that. But what balance can we strike with saying, you know what, as ladies, we really need to look at ourselves first and look at our habits. And you've mentioned culture, where we have a generation, for example, Gen Z, my generation, that is very liberal and very reckless almost, because we grew up at the peak of feminism. I remember growing up, there was a lot of feministic rhetoric. And so we grew up very empowered, very loud. Like you said, our mothers were silent, our grandmothers, and they comported themselves in a certain way. But we are dealing with a generation that is consistently pushing boundaries. So where does the buck stop? Where we can say, okay, yes, we are empowered, but we also need to put in self-respect, because I think the radical feminism, for example, brought into play sexual liberation for women, where there's the culture of the one-night stand, and we're like, oh, if men can pick up strangers, we can also pick up strangers.
Now that's the problem.
You know, but what you don't understand is that he's physically stronger than you. That is why and society affords him the opportunity to pick up strangers, and no consequences are going to come to him. But if you pick up someone, you do not know him. The case of the girl, I'm trying to remember her name, Alice. Not Alice Rianga. No. She was Sheila, where she went out drinking with a couple of friends, and then she was going back home with this guy who was a student, but they were not in a relationship. And he made sexual advances, and she refused, and he ended up raping and strangling her, and her body was found in a thicket. And I'm thinking, we are pushing boundaries that are, you know, beginning to encroach into our safety. Where do we say, okay, I need to be safe as a lady, and I also still need to be empowered and identify that I'm autonomous, I can do what I want, my dress, my choice, all of those rhetoric. And also, how do we strike a balance between taking responsibility for our safety and enforcing responsibility on potential perpetrators? Because there's this conversation you have sometimes with gentlemen, and they're like, you take responsibility for your safety. Why are you meeting me on a date and you haven't carried enough money? Why are you meeting me and I'm a stranger? But I'm at the same time like, why are you killing me? That's a choice you made. How do we strike a balance between taking responsibility for our own safety as ladies and enforcing responsibility on men and telling them, you know, I did not put a gun to your head for you to rape me and kill me?
So the point is, like, as ladies, like as women, we need to find a way and step back and ask ourselves a question, like, where did we go wrong? And
it's not a very popular thing.
Where did we go wrong? Even if you're saying my dress, my choice, that choice you're making, is it the best?
How is it impacting you?
How is it impacting you? How will your children perceive you with the next 10 years? You know, how would maybe male or people perceive you when you enter a room, and maybe you wear a bra and a mini skirt, how will people take you?
And given that you're addressed the way you addressed.
Yeah. So some of these questions. And your children, how are you teaching them morals? You know, like the girl who was killed, like, well, alikuwa wapi? Who was going to trips. It was which university? She was going to trips, you know.
Alice Rianga from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't see her. She was like really bad.
Immodest.
Very modest. She was modest. She was, quiet. So how do we step on boundaries, How do you teach your children about boundaries? Why is someone calling me to go to a specific place like an Airbnb, Information. Tell your parents, I'm in this place, Even though it's not enough, at least we can avoid something, Yeah, we do, at the same time, there are things that are inevitable, but we can reduce these risks, Yeah, at the end of the day, we are humans and we are capable of evil at the same time, So these boundaries, we need to sit back. We need to maybe put women to learn about self-defense, Yeah. If someone tries to today put a gun on my head,
What can I do in defense?
Yeah. If they put a knife, if they come, we need to have those classes because it has become too much. If these people are out, then even us, we should go for martial arts at the same time. At the same time, it's been hard, like. There's so many things. Like, even if we include the boundaries, we include some of the things, safety measures, should be put security, When I call the police, how do they respond? Ama nakuja after 2 hours, senye umekiliwa, senye umewacall, I'm in danger. We need to find a way, like security ikwe at every place, at every position, that if I call the police, watakuwa hapo at immediate effect, That's some of the security. We have a challenge in security. We have a challenge in our law, our government, our leaders. It's too much. Yeah. So for me, I don't know. Yeah, I can just say that. Yeah.
Allow me to dwell on the technological aspect, because you have mentioned something very important in terms of Airbnbs. These things are booked online.
Yeah.
So we still have a technological aspect to these things. How possible is it? And is it a possibility in any case for that part to be regulated? Because there is no regulation when it comes to booking short stay accommodation online.
Yeah, for me, I was saying, like, if there was a possibility, if anyone who will book an Airbnb and show their ID, their age, like anyone who is below,
there should be a certain age limit.
You cannot book an Airbnb. And if the owner finds a certain age on an Airbnb, they should move out. Like, it was what time I was staying somewhere, like we just found like random teenage girls and teenage boys, they are booked an Airbnb and you don't know what they are doing, and then anything can happen on that Airbnb, Yeah, a lot of things. And we have allowed that. Our kids are going to these Airbnbs. They're doing certain things we don't know, They're going out with certain people that we don't know.
Because there is no age limit.
Yeah, there's no age limit. As a parent, when your child is going out at odd hours, you should question that as a parent. You just don't leave them to go. You should tell them, where are you going? It's past 6 o'clock, You shouldn't, if it's a birthday party, let it be in the house where I'm seeing you. Like, it has become too much. We've just let our kids do whatever they want. Yeah, because, we have accepted ourselves as a liberal society. Yeah. It shouldn't be like that. We need to take care of our kids. Yeah, even if it's in the university, there should be regulations, security. If I bring my child, what are they doing? And then our economic, finances. Some of these girls are doing it because their families are like they're not capable of doing certain things for them, and they feel like they need it. Yeah, we need to look at it like a lot of things. Like, even if you start breaking it down, it will take quite a long time to say certain things, and we just need to take a step on what to do.
Do you think that the gaps in technological advancement in terms of criminology, in policing, because I tend to think that someone who kills has either not done it that is not the first time they're doing it, or they have escalated over time, because you find that there was a case of a Kenyan lady who was murdered by a South African. And what struck me about that, even though it happened in South Africa, but the lady was Kenyan, was that there was a pattern of escalation where it started with, hitting you, and then it went to choking and strangling. Especially you hear cases of wives who've been killed by their husbands, and the method is strangulation. And it has escalated. He started choking you at one point, would choke you to maybe you'd lose consciousness, and then you'd, regain consciousness. It has happened before, and there's a pattern of escalation, but there is no system of logging this, because some ladies go to the police. I had my own experience of, reporting. I did not even know that number was working, but there is no centralized database that is able to track and log these details to identify escalation patterns. How much is our lapse and our gaps in technological advancement, how much is it setting us back in terms of the fight against femicide?
Way back, because we don't have advanced technological know-how when it comes to forensics and data about people. We haven't gotten there. Though the government can do it. If they can do that, that will be really, can really bridge the gap, when it comes to technology, when it comes to forensics, when it comes to data about individuals and then maybe their criminal records, so that when you go to a police station and say like, hey, Mwangi has been done, that they can go back to the Mwangi's record
and they can see that he's a habitual perpetrator, that he has a history of assault and battery.
So they can come back and, call him into like investigation office. Like, we have been told you have been doing this, and this is what your track record on things. It will be really nice and really, it will be an advancement. If the government will chip in on that, it will really help, because at this point we really need it, because a lot of people are engaged in a lot of criminal activities that we really do not know. Your history, your family background, where you come from, who are you,
Because in closing, we have ICT conventions every year. The other day we had AI exhibition in Nairobi. We have these conventions every year. And in fact, in terms of technological advancement, in other fields, in fintech, way advanced. Business, really advanced. But is the conversation really wholesome and holistic if we're singling out, we're so focused on business and on financial technology and on even health technology has made some, at least we have digitized in as much as they're not working. I don't know whether Shy is working or not.
We're still way back on so many things.
But is the conversation, every year we are having ICT conventions. I think the conversation is not holistic, if we're not incorporating,
Yeah.
like you've said, forensics,
Yeah.
pathology,
Yeah.
criminology,
Yeah.
how are we tracking these criminals? We made Kenya a visa-free country. There is no way. Our borders have become so porous, and there is no way to digitally track the people who are entering our borders.
Yeah.
We just check passports and that's it, but you don't know if they're coming to abduct children, if they're coming to kill, because we had so many bodies discovered in Kware, for example.
Because let me tell you, because corruption has been so much in Kenya, they don't want so much to be known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so actually, I was having a conversation with someone who mentioned to me that if the systems were digitized, it would be very, very easy to identify corruption.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why they're clamping down on it.
Yeah.
But it's costing us lives.
Yeah, but it's costing us life. So we really need to fight. We really need to really decide about what we want as a country, or we might end up in another place. Yeah. And so many other countries that have fallen. Yeah, if we don't think about such things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it will take us quite a lot of time to come out from it. Yeah. And we have lost so much. Yeah. Yeah.
So as a young Kenyan woman, what does Sonia Opone hope to see in the coming days in terms of advancement of women's rights, in terms of expansion of opportunities in the technological space, in terms of safety measures incorporated? What does Sonia hope to see?
I hope to see a change for this country, a change for our children, a change about how our society is and what can we do as a country, as a young person, as a Gen Z, as they say. Yeah. I need to see change in our leadership. There's a lot that has gone wrong, and we have assumed for decades, Yeah. So we need to make a change on those things, on those policies, As a young person, even you, when you want to lead, what is your value? What is your agenda? Or will you do the same way as the other leaders have done? We need that. Yeah, so that's what I need to see. When it comes to tech, we really need to advance, really need to push. And the laws that are being set up on tech for the African, because most of us have been put in a corner. Yeah, there are some things we cannot do. Yeah, but the other people, are still, taking up the space. Yeah, but I feel there is a future for us and Africans in general, but we really need to gear up. For maybe our freedom and what we want as a continent itself.
That's true.
Yeah.
Sonia, it's been lovely, lovely, lovely hosting you. My happiest moments are when I'm having conversations with brilliant, intellectual women. I say this is the age where we have such intellectually advanced ladies, and I'm so happy about that. That has been our conversation today. We have been exploring the role of technology in combating femicide, the gaps, the systemic lapses, and what needs to be done and what needs to happen. So that is it from us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next week, it's me, your girl, Tracy Younger. And as you know, I am a lover of all things women. See you next time. Keep it Her 3 Cents podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Tell everyone about these conversations. See you.